Okay, let's wait for another minute and then we will start. Okay, good morning everyone and welcome to this Henry webinar. Today we have a special topic about the Ukrainian HR. And my name is Marita Salo and I'm heading the Finnish HR Association, Henry. Our topic today is important for a number of reasons and I want to mention a couple. Firstly, on a professional level, it's important to go beyond the daily news and headlines and learn about the work done on the ground in companies, in organizations, by our HR colleagues in Ukraine. Secondly, on a personal level, the war in Ukraine has touched the people in Finland, Europe, and all over the world. We can relate because our parents and grandparents lived during the war in Finland about 80 years ago. Therefore, we as the Finnish HR community wish to show our support to our colleagues in Ukraine and make their voices heard. So without further ado, I have the pleasure to welcome our guest speaker, Katerina Kovalevska. Katerina is the head of HR PRO Association in Ukraine, and she will share her insights about the main focus of Ukrainian HR before and after the war. So, welcome, Katerina. Great to have you with us. The Zoom is all yours now. Please.
Rita, thank you very much. Thank you for such a quick response to my request to talk, to somehow share my ideas and just to help our colleagues from Ukraine, colleagues who is now living and searching for, I can't say new life, but searching for new opportunities in Europe because of the situation. And I just want to tell your community a couple of words about us, who we are, how we work, and what we are doing, what we were doing before work as a specialist, as a professionals, and what we are doing right now. And I can say that we are facing a very specific situation. I really hope none of us will be in such a condition in the future, and I really hope that it will stop as soon as possible. But anyway, all of us should learn from such a situation how to be stronger, how to be more resilient, and how to be more productive for our people and for our business and for ourselves as well. So can you please? So my name is Katerina Kovalevska and I'm head of Ukrainian HR Association. We are, I think, as a normal European association, we're doing plenty of things. As you can see, it was a big domain. It was a learning and certification. We help to prepare our specialists for international certification, for American HR certification. We are 7 years already in partnership with SHRM, the biggest American HR association in the world. We held over 100 profile events. It was workshop, it was sharing session, it was conferences. Our HR activists were working on different HR programs, courses. So just the good, active community. Next slide, please. I want to say a couple of words about Ukraine and about our economy, because the HR connected with the business. So Ukraine before war was an export leader and agriculture. How you can see that 30% of the world's chernozem is in Ukraine. So metallurgy, it's our, I think, second big industry, and 46% of all iron export to European Union is provided by Ukraine. And for sure, the really very strong is our IT sphere. 250,000 specialists employed in IT industry. More than 100 companies from the Fortune 500 list resort to Ukrainian IT companies' services. And I think we are number 3 in the world if to talk about IT cluster. Next slide. Today is already the 44th day of the war. And that terrible numbers you can see right now at the screen, it's the numbers for 2 days before. Here is the officially confirmed figures. It's the real situation, it's much worse. As you can see, 183 cities was attacked. I'm sure all of you heard about Mariupol. The size of the Mariupol is 400,000 citizens. It's a huge city. Kharkiv, even bigger. And that 2 cities is almost completely destroyed. More than 4 million left Ukraine. 10 million was internally displaced and moved to more safe part of Ukraine. 13 million is under attack. Civilians under attack. 180 children killed, and I again should say just confirmed figures. For sure you heard about Bucha, Irpin, it's the area next to Kyiv. It's just 20 minutes from Kyiv. And it actually was a part of our capital, and people were working in Kyiv and living in that small cities around Kyiv. And it's just in the middle of our country and in Europe in 21st century. 35,000 civilian objects destroyed. It's schools, it's hospitals, it's kindergarten. It's nothing about military objects. Next slide, please. So this local war can lead our world to global hunger. 1/3 of the one-third of the wheat world export was from Ukraine. 55% is Ukrainian share of sunflower oil world export. Our Ukrainian poetry production export number 3 in UN. Ukraine is a number 4 corn export in the world. So this is about food, but there is not just the problem with food. There is a problem with environment. As you can see, 43 damaged industrial facilities, mines in the Black Sea, blowing up oil and chemical storages, active hostilities next to nuclear power plants. I'm sure you know about Chernobyl, but Energodar is the biggest nuclear power station in Europe, and it was active fighting next to it. So it's creating a real nuclear security risk for the whole Europe. So it's not just a local war, and it's not, the war in such a big country in the Europe can't be a local one. This is the real war against humanity. Couple of words about Ukrainians, and here it's the main for me, it's not to start to cry here, because I'm really proud of our people. We are incredibly brave. You see the picture how the one man was stopping the military machines. It was the huge amount of them, and he just tried to stop them, not them let to go further inside the country. They are very practical. I'm sure you've seen how our farmers was stealing the Russian military machines. And we are caring, all of us we all leaving our places, taking care of take our pets with us. And this small lady, she voluntarily went to Irpin and take these sick dogs from the shelter, just helping to survive them. We are very, very creative. The fourth picture you see, the lady in Kiev just seen the Russian military drone, and she threw out just something what she found at her balcony, and the drone fell down. So we are brave and really, very, really very creative. Next slide, please. Let's talk about Ukrainian specialists, HR specialists, and here is some numbers. According to survey conducted by Shrim using LinkedIn data, there is 20,000 HR specialists in Ukraine, including recruiters, admin positions, CNV specialists. Very traditional, it's primarily female. The biggest part of the profession, it's female. We are young, I can see, because the profession was young, especially in our country, it's 25 years old, I think. That's why, and it's becoming, this profession really becoming more and more popular, I think, recently, and so younger people coming and start their career in this sphere. Next slide. Education. It's interesting that in Ukraine, a big percentage of higher educated people. In HR, as you can see, 20% has not just one higher education, but two and sometimes more. But the question is that it's not profile education. It's usually people from psychology, sometimes now marketing, economy, and coming to HR profession. And the education, the knowledge they gain from online courses, offline courses, workshop, and other different. And that's why the certification become, for example, in our international certification become so popular, because people wanted to show that the level of their knowledge is really high. This is a minimum salary. We have just, so I can't say it's a really clear numbers, but it's the net salary. But minimum one. So it's started from the very beginning for talent researchers and goes up till HRD. And it was a big difference between specialists in capital, and the numbers was higher there than in the region, because the country is, really big. Okay, next one. What can I say? The previous year, we launched it was our new project. We started HR PRO Awards. And it should be the annual conference and annual event. And according to our nominates, we did this statistic. As you can see, training and development, well-being, health, and recruitment was the biggest amount of projects we have. So I can't say it's the main focus of our specialists, but I think the well-being and health is the result of pandemic, because it was the global problem and Ukrainian were fighting with this as well. And that's why it was such a big focus on well-being and health during the 2021. And training and development, I think it's a global trend as well. Reskilling, upskilling, and all of that stuff. And recruitment, because Ukraine had a problem with immigration. People were moving to Europe for bigger salary or sometimes more stable situation. So we were very creative in recruiting new specialists. Next slide. And as you can see, HR analytics was still not very popular topic, but I mean, just we were talking a lot about this, and IT companies, IT businesses started to do many interesting things, but still, I think it's an area for development. What's happened now and what's happened when the war started? For sure, businesses were pushed to change their business strategy. It was the closing of certain lines of business, and what was interesting that the company and businesses who could work, continue to work and do their best right now and did their best from the very beginning. I'm talking about retail now and logistics and things like this. Companies decided to go to new markets, and this is clear as well, especially when it was a big relocation. If the company could relocate, they relocated and abroad, and so they started to think how to operate in new markets. And it was a big focus on the military needs. A lot of examples how production companies just switched to any kind of military needs, from food supply till life jackets. So operational changes. Now it's really complicated to work under the alarms, and after especially, for example, you are chemical productions and your employees just pushed to run away to basements and just because of the air attack. So how to operate in this situation, how to operate when so many people moved away from previous locations, it's all was in the focus of HR. Next slide. Payment system for sure was reorganized. There is a number 63, and other research shows even bigger percent of the company, but 63% of the large businesses continue to pay salaries. But for sure it's possible for these 2 months maximum, because if company is not working and a lot of companies stop their activity, it's really complicated to pay salaries in full. So we had a new law according to payments and relations with our employees. So HR were focused on this issue as well. A lot of time our HR specialists spent on relocation. And if during the pandemic it was relocation of employees, this time it was the relocation, not only the employees, but their families. And as you know, our men can't leave the country. I mean, from 18 till 60 years old, they are inside, and company. So if the employees stay inside the country, employers help with transferring the families in a more safe place. As you can see, 23% rented accommodation in Western Ukraine, 23 rented accommodation abroad, at least for the first time, to help people to be in a safety. And help with organizing the remote work. I can say that pandemic prepared us somehow to this, and so we were more equipped how to do it, and just no. Next one. Psychological support. Again, I repeat, during the pandemic, we are HR specialists did really a lot to support our employees. Now the situation is much more complicated, and there is no specialist in Ukraine and in other countries who really know how to deal with problem we faced. I can say that specialists from Israel started to help us in that topic, how to deal with that kind of trauma. But anyway, we are searching for some instruments how to deal with such a big problem. And psychological support, again, was not just to employees, but for family members as well. And really can say that a lot of well-being companies, psychologists and other kind of psychiatric specialists help for free, Ukrainian one and all over the world as well. And it's really important topic. And what I can see from the other area as well is that the level of anxiety is raising not only in Ukraine, but all over the world with, I mean, just facing such a situation makes people worry. So for sure, HRs now searching how to decrease and how this level and how to help people to be productive and continue to work, even with all of that threats we see from Russia. Next slide. Volunteering. Ukrainians really make a great job, and not just Ukrainians. I really want to say a big thanks to everybody who collect the stuff, help our people, and just send plenty of tons of products to Ukraine to support and help us to protect our people. It's this number is Ukrainian numbers, Ukrainian businesses. 41% help financially, 35% help their employees who is now defending the country, and not just paying their salary, but with all the equipment and whatever is necessary now. Supply products. I said about poetry already from the beginning that we are number 3 in Europe, and I have seen how the biggest production of chicken meat collaborate with another businesses just to do the products which can be used on the field. So already prepared, the product ready to eat. And it was a great collaboration, and all our businesses started to be very collaborated between each other just to help and support our country. Next, please. So what kind of conclusion, what we can talk right now, how we can be more resilient, our businesses, our teams, and ourselves. I can say that really to be international helps. Now, that companies who is international can help their employees much more right now. That companies who has a businesses all over, I mean, just not in one location, help to move employees to more safe location. People who has more international experience easier can find a job, easier can adapt to that situation we are facing. So be international, increase your resilience. Resilience, it's skills, and we can increase, I mean, we can train this knowledge, this skill. It takes some knowledge and just to share more information about resilience, how to build resilience in your company, how to be more resilient by yourself. It's really important. It's better to pay attention to these topics in advance. And we always were talking about such things like critical thinking and risk management when we were talking about HR competencies. But as I could see, HR specialists didn't pay too much attention to this topic. I mean, just we were busy with different things. And right now, seeing like propaganda is changing people's life. I can say that critical thinking becoming more and more important in our everyday life. And what is internet and what is media is doing is sometimes really bad. It's like with such an instrument, it's always working like this. It can bring many good things, but it can bring many bad things. So critical thinking, the first thing, because, for example, I heard, it's my story, I heard about war in November 2021. It was the big gathering of our businesses, the biggest business, Ukrainian businesses, and one ex-politician from the stage said, "Are you ready for war? Is your business ready? If the war starts, what are you going to do? Do you have any plan?" And I've heard the conversation later on, and I was a part of this conversation, that, it's really not a good idea to talk about this. It will decrease the interest of investors to our country, and why, and there is not such a big risks. But later on, we've seen that huge amount of troops around our country on the border. So it's really necessary for us, for all of us. We don't want to think about bad things. We avoid think about bad things, but it's really necessary to be ready for such a things. So contingency plan for your business, for your teams, and it's really important. It helps to be more resilient and to decrease the level of anxiety. It's better to be prepared for wars. Okay, next one. What can we do? I mean, just the international HR community right now. If you have any kind of vacancies, please use the platforms to share this information, to share these vacancies. There is just a couple of examples, but use not just only your site. Let Ukrainians know about this opportunity. Work to remove bureaucracy for hiring as well. I know that Europe is really very bureaucratic, and it has its pluses and minuses, but please think maybe you can make it easier. I think it will be useful not just for refugees, but for all of us in the future as well. employees doesn't want to do so many steps to be employed. To consider different approach to open position. As you know, as I said, 4 million of Ukrainians are right now outside the country, and it's primarily women with kids and with old relatives, and they have a huge problems with adaptation. Can you imagine just wake up, collect your passport and a couple of documents, your cat or dog, your child, call your mom, take care, and just run away without anything, without your luggage, your stuff, without sometimes even money, because I mean, just part of the money was blocked on our bank account. So just imagine to wake up in a foreign country without knowing the local language, without knowing where to stay, and just you should protect and take care about for your family. So think about remote work, part-time job, flexible working hours. Just I'm sure you can find an opportunity to let that people work maybe 4 hours per day, 6 hours per day, maybe 4 days a week. Just let them help them to adopt. Offer training to refugee using company space. I mean, for sure you have your learning facilities, I mean, just corporate universities, and for sure there is some interesting program, useful program, the one which can help refugee to empower them and help them to be more, how it is, employable. Retain mental health expert to work with employees, families, and refugees. And it's not just, as you can see, I'm not saying only about refugees and their families, and with your employees as well, because as I see, their level of anxiety is raising as well. Offer mentorship to Ukrainian colleagues. I mean, I really love what Poland, Bulgaria is doing. I've seen, I'm sure maybe other countries are doing this as well, but I've just seen that project. That what they provide like family mentoring, like one family, Polish family taking some Ukrainian family and help them somehow to know where is the zoo and just how to spend weekend and just where to go for dry cleaning, and just that's completely easy and normal things. And what I think can be really useful for our Ukrainian colleagues is to be mentored by some specialists. So if you have at least half an hour per week or maybe 1 hour, just help some Ukrainian specialists to understand your local specific, because for sure there is a big difference, and there is the things the Ukrainian specialists need to learn and to understand how it works in your country. Offer legal support and advices for newcomers, and plenty of other things. For sure you can sit down and create and think how you can be helpful. Next one, please. You can donate as well, and really appreciate. Before I was saying that it can be Red Cross or something, but after the information we've seen how Red Cross was acting near the Mariupol and how they are very, I mean, just support Russia in this time, I can say, please don't donate for Red Cross, donate directly to Ukraine. Our national bank open an account, and there is plenty of other funds. If you want, I can share with you this information later as well. Next one. I would love to show you a short video. I know that our president is going to give a speech to your parliament today. And this is the video Zelensky showed to US Parliament. And I want to, it's emotional video, but please. So what I can say, and I really appreciate your time, and I know that you're here because you're sharing our pain, and you understand that in such a crisis and such a situation, people should be together because it's our human nature to help when other people are facing such problems, drama. I'm ready to answer questions if you have any, or just maybe you're ready to share some ideas or comments, because it's really complicated to talk at the screen and not to have any feedback. So please, let's talk. Let's talk a little bit, and if I would be really happy to hear some of your voices.
So this is Marita again. I have a question. If we think about the future and the time after the war, and if Finnish companies are interested in rebuilding Ukraine and be part of the business society in Ukraine, what can your HR association help with when establishing a company? How can you help, let's say, an HR colleague in Finland to find the right people or something like that?
You know, as I heard before the war, that was some big, not really very big. I mean, just Fin community and Fin business in Ukraine, and they were active. They were, I mean, they communicate a lot with each other and support each other. If to talk about us, the Ukrainian HR Association, for sure, we can help that company to find the good specialists, HR, and the HR can help to find the right people for the company, for the businesses. This is for sure. We are ready to share all the necessary information. I mean, vacancies or maybe some kind of project. It can be the projects and part-time, I mean, just the participating in some kind of research or sharing the information. So for sure, we will do our best. And we are ready to do it even right now, not to wait till the war stop and the war stop. Oh, I can see the Andrei here. Andrei Stanchenko, it's one of our colleagues. So because not many faces are here, I mean, just I can see. Andrei, maybe you can add something because you are from training and development sphere. Maybe you can share some. And as I know you're in Ukraine right now, right?
Yeah. Thank you, Katerina. And thank you very much, Marita, for your question. So it's really useful now to discuss what to do now for the future. So for the one hand, we understand that L&D from Ukraine would integrate to European Union L&D community very gently. But from the other hand, we understand that our post-traumatic growth will be challenging and very useful, beneficial for European Union development as well. So HR management has crucial role there. So my idea and my question to you, what kind of initiative, maybe, I don't know, some kind of awards like Katya provided last year in Ukraine, but in bigger, so Ukrainian and Finnish and in other trainers could show themselves and give feedback, take feedback, and it could be common development. So it's only idea, but I want to ask you as well, what do you think, what the role of HR and L&D specialist could be useful for everybody, not only for Ukraine?
Thank you. I think that's an important question. I think what we could do is to start the dialogue with your association and try to understand more about the situation and the topics that you have at hand. And at the same time, I think it's important to share insights and experiences, what you have done already and what plans you have going forward. And I'm sure our community is ready to have that discussion and ready to support you in your way going forward.
Thank you. But we don't know what the forms it more usual for Finnish. Do you have some kind international, I don't know, cross-culture jury to give feedback? Maybe online such.
No, sorry, Marina. I would love to hear maybe some insights about learning and if to talk about learning and development. It's really interesting what's going on right now at your market. What is the main focuses in learning and development sphere? What is HR? I mean, just in HR, in learning and development, what maybe some main trends in recruiting, but I think recruiting is more international. I mean, just is from my experience, but if to talk about HRs and learning and development, it's usually has some national specific, and it really would be interesting for us to know what was your main focuses, your main, especially if we talk about learning and development, what is the needs of your specialists, the employees in your companies, and what is L&D specialists are doing right now, working on it.
Yeah, and I think we at Henry, we have different chapters focusing on different topics. We have one for learning, and I could actually connect you with the team organizing the events. And then another thing is we also have an international chapter at Henry, and that could be also interesting for you as contacts. So you could continue the discussion with our active members. That could be something.
And so thank you very much. And I would love to hear maybe our audience has some questions about maybe cross-cultural things. I mean, just for sure, because, you know, Ukrainians usually was considered like the same like as Russians, and right now we know that it's not true. We, even despite the fact that, I mean, maybe 30% of Ukrainian population was speaking Russian and using Russian language, we have a different culture, and we have a different, I mean, just habits and just values, as you can see. And for sure, it's important for HRs to understand this, to know what to expect from Ukrainians, and I mean, in a good way. I mean, in a business sphere. So maybe, and I just really want to hear some questions from other people. Or comments, yeah. Please.
Hi, this is Kirsi. I come from Aeon, and I think a lot of us in the audience, we are currently very quiet and shocked about what you've been telling us. And
thank you.
And sharing your pain.
Yes, thank you very much. You know, yesterday we had a meeting with Slovakia Association as well, and what surprised me, I mean, just when we've seen this video, Ludmila, the head of association, started to cry as well, and she says sorry for unprofessional behavior, and I said that for me, it's not an unprofessional behavior, that for me it's completely normal human reaction. And first of all, all of us are human, and only after we are professional, and especially HRs who work with people and who we always talk recently about emotional intelligence, empathy, and how the leader should be empathetic. And I don't know how it's possible to control your emotion in such a situation, honestly speaking. And that's why I think it's completely, I'm really appreciate that you're sharing, Kirsia. Thank you.
Yeah, I have colleagues also in Ukraine, and I know my company has been supporting them, but we don't know actually, at least here, what is going on. And that's of course we follow the news, but it's very valuable to hear from you and your colleagues how your work is going and how you are experiencing
the
situation.
Yeah. And why I decided to start to talk about this, first couple of weeks I can share my story. A couple of weeks I couldn't talk. I just was next to the youth and checking them constantly, and I wasn't able to think. I was crying almost every minute. And later on, I started to talk with our communities. We were talking constantly, where you are you in a safe place, and what's going on with you? Can I help you somehow? And all of that things. But later on, in 2-3 weeks past, we started to think how we should live, how we should continue, what should we do? And I've seen that the self-esteem is going really down in such a traumatic situation. And I was talking with one another, third, fourth HRD, the HRDs from the big companies who continued to help the employees, their families, and they said it's really very complicated to get the help. I mean, just when they are abroad, and some volunteers brought them some food, and I'm staying and crying. It's the first time I take some food for free from people I don't know, and it's really something unbelievable. I could never imagine myself in such a situation. And that's why I decided it's necessary to talk about this, because as I said, we're all humans, and we need not just help in such a situation. I think the empowering is a really good thing, because we did a good job. Ukraine was really beautiful and blossoming country, and our professionals was doing really unbelievable, really beautiful, interesting projects. I was collecting the delegation every year to the biggest event in US. Andrei was visiting
ATD.
And was bringing all the new trends in L&D to Ukraine community and L&D community. So we were moving as a normal European country, and right now we are searching for the way how to deal with this new reality, honestly speaking.
So you're showing a show of resilience, and I think you will come out stronger when you have gone through this. But I truly hope that we're able to support you in our companies, all the participants. Of course, I cannot talk for them, but I think that there is a willingness in Finland to help the Ukrainians.
Thank you. So if you have any jobs, you can send it to me directly. So find me, please, and in LinkedIn or so that is my contacts, and I will share it as much as possible. And because I know a lot of specialists in person, maybe I can directly recommend. And we already started to do a research. We ask our members and colleagues where they are they searching for job or not. So we are collecting data where our specialists right now. So for sure, I will share all the useful information.
May I add to Marita question as well? As I know, we have Finnish school in Kyiv, and it's connected with Finnish company even. So maybe we will connect with them, and according to this school, make something for adult education as well. So there's a strong connection between Kyiv Finnish school and the Finnish company, as I know. Maybe something there.
Business community, you mean, right?
Yeah, to grow, it's better to grow from something. So this Finnish school maybe some plant which will grow.
Yeah, I think that is a good idea. And Katarina, there are a couple of comments in the chat. The first one is from Kira. Thank you for coming to talk to us. If we could hire an Ukrainian recruiter for part-time job to help, for example, in international recruitments, which would be the best channel to advertise this kind of job opportunity?
It was in my slides it was some portals which was made especially for Ukrainian refugees to search for the job. And about recruiters, you can send it to me, and as I said, we will share it as much as possible. And we have some Ukrainian portals, for example, Работа.ua or Work.ua, so you can put the information about your vacancies there as well. So, or you can send it to me and I will do everything. Honestly, with my team, we will share it as much as possible.
Good, thank you. And you can see Katarina's email address now on the screen.
Yep. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Marita, again for such an opportunity to share, to share in some point the pain and some ideas how it's possible to help. And I really want us as specialists, as HR professionals, become stronger and be ready. I mean, I really hope that none of us will face such things in the future, but all of that rapid changes we are facing right now in our life, like a pandemic, like climate changes and things like this, they really can bring in our life so many uncertainty and so many new challenges that it's better to prepare, better to train our resilience, and better to be stronger and stronger as a professionals.
Yeah, and thank you, Katarina, and your team. I think we all share this idea that Ukraine is now leading the way for Europe. And thank you for your bravery and your resilience, and for your will to go forward. I think we all appreciate that a lot.
Thank you, and let's continue to be in touch, and thank you again. And have a good, productive day, and take care of yourself and your teams and your businesses. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.